Alright, what's going on everybody? I'm back again today, bringing you guys another video. This is going to be kind of like a review of a TV show that I recently watched. It's based on the Alex Rider series of books, and what you can see here in front of you, this is some like trailer footage of the show. Anyone who's familiar with these books, you know the premise. Young kid, Alex Rider, his uncle was a spy for British Secret Service. Uncle gets killed, and the Secret Service MI6. In the books, it's MI6. In this, it's some kind of like extra special thing. It's not exactly MI6. But anyway, they recruit Alex because his uncle, the spy, kind of raised him and trained him for a career being a spy. He enrolled him in hand-to-hand combat, made sure he learned how to speak multiple different languages, took him mountain climbing, parasailing, taught him to drive a various assortment of vehicles. He's actually a very capable young man, and MI6, or in this show, this extra special organization for the British government, they decide we're going to put him to use. And this show, it does not start off as an adaptation of the first book, which is Stormbreaker. This show, it starts off adapting the second book, which is Point Blank. Alex is tasked with going and investigating this very strange boarding school up in the mountains. It's very snowy and cold and blah blah blah, which I thought was interesting. They decided to skip Stormbreaker and go straight to Point Blank. It didn't really make much of a difference though. I mean, they still covered they covered everything leading up to him going on his first mission to Point Blank, basically as if it was still covering Stormbreaker. His uncle gets killed and he starts looking into it, and then he finds the MI6 secret agency and they kind of recruit him. As far as casting as this show goes, I thought it was awesome. I thought the casting was top notch. Alex, Miss Jones, Alan Blunt, Jack, his friend Tom. I thought it was all perfect casting. Ian Ryder, his uncle you just saw there at the dinner table for a brief period, that was actually pretty good. The casting is top notch, and it's not bad acting either. These are all relatively unknown actors. The only one I did recognize was the guy playing Alan Blunt. He is from Game of Thrones, but everyone else I was like, I have no idea who these people are. That's him right there. Everyone else I was like, I have no idea who these people are. But yeah, the acting was actually really good. And what I loved most about this show was they did not treat it like some young adult childish show. Like they didn't treat it like, oh, this show's for teenagers, so we're not gonna take it very seriously. No, this is a genuine spy show. You feel like the stakes are high. You feel like Alex could die. They definitely show people getting murdered and killed all the time. There's fight scenes. It's a legitimate spy espionage show, and it's not toned down at all just because it's a teenage character in the lead role. So I really liked that. I will say though, uh, there are but like Alex has two fight scenes in this first season. One of them is versus an adult female, and the other one is against another kid. Like I wouldn't say kid, but it's against a guy his own age who's like just as well trained as he is. When he fights the adult female, Alex kind of gets his ass kicked. But when he fights the kid his own age, Alex actually holds his own. What this is telling me is that they kind of have this rule they're playing by for this show, and the rule is if Alex being a kid, if he fights an adult, he gets his ass kicked. If he's fighting someone who's not an adult, he doesn't get his ass kicked. So on the one in a million chance that anyone from IMDB, which are the people who are actually making this show, IMDB made it for their own streaming service, which is completely free. That's another good thing about the show. It's completely free to watch on their IMDB streaming service. It does have some ads in the middle of the episodes, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I found it worth it. So yeah, uh, IMDB makes this, and it was actually kind of surprising. What was I saying before? Oh, with the fight scenes. So, on the one in a million chance that someone from IMDb is watching this, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, you need to throw that rule out the trash. Just throw it into the trash. Alex, that he states that like his uncle trained him or had him trained in Krav Maga. He states that at one point in the show. In the books, it was karate, but I guess nowadays Krav Maga is more like It's like the de facto, like it's like the real shit, the real hand-to-hand combat style you would want to know for real-world life-threatening scenarios. So he states that he's been learning Krav Maga for years. Like he started when he was young and now he's like 14, 15 in this show. And yeah, he knows how to fight. I remember how I was at 14. I was about 5'10" and I was about 170 pounds. So a 5'10" person with weighing 170 pounds. Clearly, Alex is not that. He actually looks to be a bit taller, but not super bulky or buff. But anyway, like a 14, 15-year-old kid who's been learning Krav Maga for like 3 years or more, even just a year, they're going to be a decently formidable hand-to-hand combatant. They just seem like they have this really arbitrary rule, like Alex, just to re-emphasize the fact that he is a kid and not a real spy, not a real agent. He's just a kid who's been thrown into this mess. We need to show him get his ass kicked. No, half the fun of this show is watching this kid do stuff that normal kids are not supposed to be able to do. And that just happens to include beating the ever-living shit out of adults. Normally, if a kid, any kid in the world, if your typical 14-year-old kid fought like some kind of terrorist, the 14-year-old kid would get the shit kicked out of him. This is supposed to be a show where that doesn't happen. This is an exceptional 14-year-old kid he's not normal. He can fight. He can kick ass. All right? That's the whole point of the show. So don't just have him lose fights cuz he's fighting an adult. All right, let him, especially when he was fighting that adult female. Like he got in like one good punch against her, and then she just whooped his ass across the whole room. No, have him actually be able to kick the shit out of some people. All right, it's not that big. It would make sense. All right, it wouldn't fuck with the show too much. It would actually make sense. But yeah, overall, that's my one complaint with this show. If you're a fan of the book series, you're gonna like this show. If you just like spy, James Bondy, spy kind of stuff, you're gonna like this show. And like I said, it's not toned down and treated like some young adult fan fiction bullshit. It's treated like a genuine spy show. There's real stakes, there's real consequences for people's actions. People get murdered and killed. Alex is definitely not babied at all. For like, even though he's just a kid, he's definitely not babied. And they really also don't gloss over the whole thing about like, oh, we're just using a kid for spy shit now. Okay, whatever, let's move on. No, there are many characters in the show who repeatedly protest to this. Like they have a genuine problem with it. They're not just glossing over the fact that they're using a child, a kid, for like government espionage assignments and operations and stuff like that. A bunch of them actually have a problem with it. So overall, yeah, I'm giving this show a 9 out of 10 for its first season. I'm just taking off the 1 point because it seems like they're doing what they normally do and stuff like this, where it's like the kid goes up against the adult and they're like, we got to remind everyone that he's just a kid. Yes, but he's supposed to be an exceptional kid, an extraordinary kid. He's not supposed to be a typical kid. So he's 14, 15 years old, and he's been learning Krav Maga for at least a year. It's probably longer. So he should be able to do some damage to people, especially an adult female. All right, just saying. But anyway, that's my take on this show. Definitely check it out. Like I said, it's completely free to watch on IMDB. You don't have to pay anything. You just got to watch the ads that come up with it during the episodes. But the entirety of season 1 is available. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Definitely check it out. Other than that, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Anyone else who watched the show, give me some feedback. Give me some input. Do you agree with some of the things I said? Do you disagree? Why? Other than that, please hit the like button. That really helps out. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Check out some of my other videos. Please check out the Facebook page, The Chad Nerd. And other than that, I will see you guys next time.